Hi, everybody. This is a really important week for us. That you're going to learn two skills this week that really play a big part in your success moving forward. The first of those is to look at a general strategy for factoring. And there's a PDF here that kind of outlines and highlights the four-step process to factoring any polynomial. And that's where we want to get to, where you can look at a polynomial and decide whether it can factor or not and how to go about factoring it. It's a relatively straightforward four-step process. The first, check to see if there's a common factor. If there is, factor it out. If there isn't, move on. Count your number of terms. If it's a two-term polynomial, factor it by rule the same way that you did last week. If it's three terms, use trial and error or use the AC method. If it's four terms, factor it by grouping. The third step is really an important step that a lot of times gets overlooked, and you have to check to make sure that your polynomial is factored completely, that neither of your resulting factors when you're done still are differences of perfect squares or they don't have GCFs inside of them. You just want to check and make sure that they're completely done. Then at the end, you have to remember that this is a guessing game. They may be really well educated guesses, they may be smart guesses, but in the end you're guessing. And so check your work by multiplying it out. A lot of times that helps you to find the mistakes that you made and can really go a long way to getting the right factorization. There's a lot of opportunities here. There's a couple of videos that go through factoring. There's a lot of chance for you to practice the factorizations that you're looking at. Once you're done with the general strategy for factoring, you're going to learn how to solve quadratic equations using factoring. And I know most of you probably remember the quadratic formula from high school. That's the whole x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of. Don't worry about it. It's not a part of this class. I don't want you to solve equations using the quadratic formula. You need to learn how to solve equations using factoring. On the test, the instructions say you won't get credit if you use the quadratic formula. You're welcome to use it to check your work, but you need to solve the equations using factoring. And then there's some application questions at the end that get into solving applied problems, word problems, and there will be a word problem on the test. The other thing that's a little bit different this week is the inclusion of an extra credit assignment. So you have your group work assignment and you have the preview questions, but the extra credit assignment is 10 extra credit points. It won't open until Monday, October 21st, and it closes on Thursday, October 24th. Okay, there's only 10 polynomials there, so it shouldn't be an overwhelming amount of work, but it's so important that you understand how to apply the general strategy that I'm willing to give you 10 extra credit points on your study guide grade, which for a lot of you, that's going to take you up to close to 100% on that study guide grade. So take the time to do this assignment. Make sure you read the instructions at the top because it does say you must make sure that your polynomials are factored completely and you have to multiply them back out and demonstrate through multiplication that you have the correct factorization, which is just you checking your work. So that should mean that everybody gets 10 points. You're welcome to work with your groups. You're welcome to get help. I'm happy to help you if I can. So make sure you take the time or set aside a little bit of extra time so that you can get this assignment done. You will need to factor on the next test, and it will be an important part, a giant portion of the grade is this ability to factor. If you have any questions, send me an email, let me know. Otherwise, everything else is exactly the same as it's been.